Hey everybody, it's Strict 9 with Strict 9 GP, and I'm back with another episode of my UAB Blazers playthrough with Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2020. Um, last last episode, we got through the first 6 games of the conference schedule, and what a difference it was. I couldn't believe the start we had. We've kind of kept a little bit of that momentum going, but we've had some injury problems and a couple other things that have hurt us, but I'm kind of at the point now where I'm staying with what's working. So I know the start of the season, start of last episode, I was like, hey, I'm going to be tinkering a lot with this team. But now we're in a position where we might be able to finish better than I thought. So I'm going to ride it a little bit further. But this episode, we've got 6 games left in the regular season, and we're just going to sim through them all. Everything seems to be pretty settled in terms of recruiting. I do think that whatever adjustments I made seem to be working at any rate with the team that I have. So I do think that we've got something to build on right now, and I'm just going to keep working it. But I want to start off, get us caught up on what's happened since that last episode before we get to simming some games. So first thing, the record. We're still 8-4 in conference. We were 5-1 after that horrendous loss to open the season. Lost by 40 points to Old Dominion on the road. After that, we were just solid. We had one 2-point win. That was the closest win that we had in a 6-game winning streak. Then we hit some bumps. We lost on the road to Middle Tennessee. Came back and beat Florida International at home. But then we've lost 2 in a row to Texas, El Paso, and Charlotte before we beat a good Marshall team at home. So that was a good, solid win. But now we're going on the road against Texas, San Antonio. We've got Old Dominion again. We got Western Kentucky, North Texas on the road. It's going to be tough, I think, to finish where we need to finish to have a winning record. But I still am pleased with how this has turned out. With 6 games left, I think, I guess the biggest thing I would wish for would be 4 wins out of those 6. If we got more than that, that would be incredible. But if we were able to win 4 out of 6, finish 12-6 in the conference, that would be amazing to me. I think realistically, a good goal is probably going to be winning 3 to close it out. That would still give us a good record in conference. Would give us a 13-win season, potential 15 wins if we get hot in the conference. So conference tournament. So that's overall, I'm really happy with the season so far. A couple things that did happen. I don't know if it was last episode. It may have been, but we lost our starting center, Bill Daniels, and I put Ryan Y in there, who's a freshman, and we were winning with him in the starting lineup. But I still think Daniels is the better choice right now at center, so I put him back. But I moved the depth chart around so that Y is going to be the backup center. I was playing him mostly at power forward, but I really want him to develop at center so that we have those two kind of a 1-2 punch potentially for the next 2-3 years at center. But that's about the only change to the depth chart I really made, except for one thing that I was forced to make. And that was going back to, well, I could just look at it from here. Harrell, who is a senior small forward, I thought, even though he doesn't have the best current ratings, I thought this guy was probably the best individually rated small forward. So I went with him as the starter. He was having a pretty good game, and then he broke his foot. And that was against Middle Tennessee, and that was the first loss that we had. That was the loss that broke the streak for us. After he went down, I put in Callaway, who I think one of my commenters even mentioned it. He's got great defensive ability. He's a good player. I think maybe fringe player would be the way I would characterize him. But yeah, the defensive ability is pretty good. And if you look at the game logs for him as a starter the last 4 games. It was rough, kind of rocky at first, but he just came off a great game against Marshall. 17 points plus 17. So I'm hoping that he kind of stays somewhere around there in terms of performance the rest of the season. He hasn't been that great, honestly. I still think Harrell was the better choice to start, and hate that we lost him to injury. I really hurt our depth, but you got to deal with it, and that does give us a chance to start Harris, or not start him, but playing him a little bit more off the bench in case he might develop some. He's got 1 more year of eligibility, so he may be a good depth piece for next year. But individually, the team itself, the one guy who stands out to me more than any is this power forward, and I really don't know why. Because his size, everything about his makeup, physically, to me, just doesn't speak to this guy having much of a chance, being a great power forward. But he has put together some great games. He's streaky. That's the one problem I see with him. But he's up to almost 7 rebounds a game. I think that's top 10 in the conference. Points, he's all over the place with points. But if I look at his game logs, you can see he has had as high as 26. One thing that's been really impressive about him is he has 5 double-doubles for the season, leads the conference in that category. That may not show up here as a stat, but it does show up in the conference stat rankings, and I was pretty impressed with that. I do think, though, like I say, with his overall numbers, it kind of tells you how streaky he is. But he has put together some great games, and he's just a sophomore. He started now twice, 2 seasons for this team. He's not getting as many minutes as he got last year, but I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But I did have another comment about that in terms of the depth chart. If they're not getting those minutes, you may want to adjust that setting to keep them from subbing out. But I'm going to ride that one too. Next year, though, I really think he's going to be a guy to, especially if his ratings improve any here primarily. But I think he's going to be a guy to really depend on for this team. Rose is the leading scorer. He's a junior, so he'll be back next year. Shooting guard with just, the average shooting guard ratings, really. But he's plus 10 in points. And then the other guy who's really impressed me again is Daniels at center. 3.5-star potential, but he's given me a lot of rebounds. He's also had a double-double here. That game he had a double-double. But he has been, overall, I'm pretty happy with his play. And I think he was the right guy to start at center. But, the depth at center is really good. So this team is a little bit different makeup of any team that I've managed or coached in this game. Austin Peay and Penn State, I basically went with an outside game, had some really good shooting guards primarily on those teams. And this time I'm seeing a difference. So I'm going to hope that the strategy that I've got, which is going mostly motion right now, some high post and triangle, but also playing that offensive set usage more than I was. I'm hoping that that's been a benefit too. Last thing before we send some games out, if you look at the standings, we are in a 4-way tie on top of the conference standings. It's really bunched up. So I think, you've got 7 teams all separated by 1 game, really, 1 win. So these next 6 games are really, I think, going to shake up these standings. I just hope that we keep playing well enough that we're going to wind up here and not down here somewhere. But that could easily happen. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Texas, El Paso, they're good, but so is Texas, San Antonio. They have the best overall record in the in this conference. I may get lucky, but it's really going to be luck if I manage to win this one, I think. But I've said that before with this team all year. This is the first time we've played them. It's the only time we're going to play them this year. So let's get started with it. Let's go ahead and get through these games. I'm going to sim through the week again. That seems to be working pretty well. But I'm going to play this game right now. I hope it may stop. I don't know if it'll stop or go through and play it. And we do lose that one. And like I say, that's probably the toughest opponent we've seen in this conference based on the way the season's going. And you add the fact that it was on the road. So we've still got a chance to finish strong. Even if we lost all the remaining 6 games, I got to be honest. From where we started, 2-9, I did say that there were 3 games where we lost by 2 points each. It was a tough schedule, I get that, but just 2 wins coming into the conference schedule, I was thinking, man, we might struggle to get 10 wins as a team, and so we're at least going to meet that target. And that may be you're only getting up. We're going to Old Dominion, and we're at home, but man, they really handled us last time. So they're 9-4 in the conference, and this is what I'm saying. This is where it's gonna start. You're gonna have some of these teams running away, I think, from the rest of the pack. Texas San Antonio might be the team to do it, but come on, let's get some revenge here, and we do. 9 wins now in the conference. That's going to tie us with Old Dominion, 69-58. I'll take a look at the the box score. Really happy with this performance. I mean, even at this moment, we can lose the remaining 4 games and still finish at 500 in the conference. That's a little unexpected. So was that game the 19th or the 18th? And here it is, the box score. I think our defense has been really playing well overall. And here, once again, we held them under 40. They were just 21% from the 3-point line, 11 of 21 field goals or free throws, and that really, I think, played a difference. I'm pretty happy with our free throw performance overall. I gotta add that too. I think that's where we make where we've been able to win some of these games is the difference between our free throw numbers and percentage and the other team. So why coming off the bench is player of the game? He got 19 minutes, and I am set to give him more minutes, but I'm not sure why Daniels didn't get as much in this game. I don't think he's injured again. So he just got 18 minutes. 3 fouls. Okay. I thought it was only 1 foul, but it's 3. He probably got in foul trouble. Same with Horton. Just 8 points, 4 rebounds, but he may have had some foul trouble there. Callaway, another solid game from him, so he's hopefully getting in rhythm. And then, why off the bench? Not too bad. I am giving Brooks as much playtime as I can, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's not that great of a player. I don't think he's good enough to start unless he really sees some movement on his ratings and abilities. But the coach relationship's at 1%, and there's just not a whole lot I can do about that. So I hate to lose depth at point guard, but he's just not. He's not happy. And now we look at some scouting reports. These might be the last 2 opponents we face. So once again, we have been picked to lose almost every game that we've played. Louisiana Tech, we might have a good shot. No, they've got a better center, really a good-looking center here. 15 points a game. I mean, you would think, that might be one where I'd want to change the play a little bit. But let's see. I want to go back to the standings and see how that's moved us around, and it's still the same. We're now in a tie for third, though. So Texas, those two Texas teams are there running away with it. North Texas got an outside chance too. They've been pretty good their last 10. I'm trying to think who we play down the stretch. I think we do play Louisiana Tech, North Texas for sure. And Western Kentucky. So those are 3 of the 4 teams we got remaining. And Florida Atlantic, which they were 6 and 8. They've been struggling, but that doesn't really mean too much. So I'm going to go ahead and play again through the week. I do think 11-7 in conference is about as good as I could hope for. Anything above that is just really unexpected at this point. And it doesn't, it does make me regret that that tough schedule I gave this team, because if we're able to win 11 games in conference and we came in with 5-6 wins, I mean, that's a pretty decent season already. I mean, that's going to give us a shot, I think, for maybe a NIT tournament postseason. All right, so let's go. Let's hope we can keep this going and not have an upset here. And we do. 10 wins now in the conference, but this could be big. And this is something that I'm really seeing more with this team than I have seen with previous teams, is the injuries. And Horton is too important for us to lose him now. So 76-57, almost 20-point victory there. Gosh, I hope this is not a big injury to Horton. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong game. Sorry. It's down here. 90-67, even bigger win. So Horton managed 26 points. A mild concussion, 10 days. So I may be able to ride that one out. I think I'll probably have to leave him in there. But a great game from him. He was player of the game. 18 points, 5 rebounds, plus 16. Callaway, field goal's not really that great, but I'll take that line. 4 rebounds, plus 16. Daniel's a good game at center. Stewart, he's ending his career probably not where he wanted to be, but just didn't have the spot for him really. But both him and Rose, double digits in points, high plus minus. Why off the bench? He wants solid minutes as well. I mean, he's definitely the bigger center, but he has looked really incredible scoring-wise these last 2 games. Brooks, pretty good game from him, and he's still in a very bad relationship with the coach, but not much after that. I mean, I know I'm looking at the stats. They weren't too bad in 3-pointers, but I think it was just, again, another disciplined performance from us. They went to the line 7 times. We went to the line 18 times, made 14. We were 10 of 17 3-pointers, 33 of 59 from the field. That's the best shooting performance we've had all year. We out-rebounded them. Turnovers, even. This is just, another solid win. Points in the paint. This is, like I was saying, previous teams, it's like with Penn State and Austin Peay, this would be even or usually to the other team's advantage, whether we won or not. But we're just dominating in the paint right now, especially against some of these weaker opponents. So now I'm going to go back and finish out this week. And let me make sure, though, when our next game is. It's just 3 days away. Whew. So my hope is that Horton is going to be okay. By the time we get to the tournament. So let's go ahead and finish out this week. So we're going to have another game here in the weekend. And this is an important one because it gets us to that 11 win mark if we could do it. But it also gets us just one game below 500 overall, which is crazy. To come in here 2-9 and be at a potential spot where we could potentially get back to 500. And I haven't paid too much attention to the rest of the conferences and how the rankings have gone. I think I did look at that last episode. We might look at it again before we end this one. This is a big one because, it's an important game for Western Kentucky. We should be pretty evenly matched in a lot of ways, but I want to see. I hate to do it because it's hard to bounce back and forth. So he's still at 90%. I mean, this may be stupid, but we need the wins. I'm going to risk it. And we lose. Dang, 85-65, a big loss here. And Horton didn't do much, so I'm hoping that doesn't mean that he was injured further. Hopefully, maybe he, didn't play as much. That would be good too. So I think that was the 25th, I believe. So not a very close game. I mean, they handled us easily. Horton, 22 minutes. So, again, that streaky factor I was talking about, but he's injured, so I can't really fault him too much for that. He had 5 fouls. Stewart had 5 fouls, so not too disciplined in this one. They went to the line 25 times to our 21, and they outshot us quite a bit with 3-pointers. That was a big story. Daniels looked okay. Y had another good game off the bench. I might be stupid for not starting this guy at center. But, my thinking, he's not giving me the rebounds that Daniels has been giving me. But my thinking with Y was, there are a few intangibles like the free throw shooting, defensive ability, drawing fouls, I just think Daniels has the advantage there. You can see, right through here, this guy is pretty solid. And I think I would rather develop him to his potential right now than Y. But, Y's having some great games. His coach relationship's holding steady, so maybe I don't want to lose a player for sure. Brooks, 8 points off the bench, not too bad from him. But this was a pretty convincing win from Western Kentucky, so that puts them in terms of the conference. They're still 7-9, and we're moving down a little bit. Texas, San Antonio, 6-game winning streak. They're about to run away with it. Surprisingly, Middle Tennessee, another team that came into the conference schedule with an upside-down record. They had like Illinois, St. Joseph, Louisiana State, Marquette, Cincinnati, Richmond. They had a pretty tough schedule too coming in, but we are into the final week, and let's see who we're going to have next. And gosh, I would really love to win these next two. Um, but yeah, the flip side, I realize I shouldn't get too greedy here because this has been a really nice turnaround. I don't know too. I was just thinking, this came to my mind. I was going to mention it. If you guys know, I'll probably find out next year. Um, the budget is a set amount every year, right? It doesn't carry over. So I wonder if that's something that maybe they're planning on putting into a future version of the game, or if anybody's heard anything to that effect. I think that's something, a commenter had a great point last time about, how it would be a nice feature in the game where, like, if you're a smaller program, you play these bigger teams on the road, you get a little bit more money to invest in facilities and recruiting. It would really be nice to be able to carry over that money too, if you have it left. But I'm not sure if that's a possibility. But looking at some of the other games, I think North Texas is who we end up with. They may be a tough team to beat. So this Louisiana Tech one might be our last best chance to do something here. Marshall upsets Texas San Antonio, so it's going to be tight at the top of the conference. And we managed to win 70-54, good win. Horton, he's not scoring the points, but we may not have needed him to in this one. A good defensive performance. If I'm looking at how we did, wow. We held him to under 40%, 3 for 18 3-pointers, 11 for 17. And then again, this is probably the best free throw shooting team. I might have to go back to one of those early Austin Peay teams to find a team that's been better at the free throw line than this one. And honestly, our shooting percentage is not that bad. If you guys were around for that Penn State playthrough, Penn State was really terrible, shooting like 30% game after game. I could not get anything going with that game or with that team. So we rebounded 37-26, turnovers 15-16, so about even. Individually, Horton gave us 5 rebounds, plus 14. Callaway, same kind of line there. Poor shooting game from him. He's not a great shooter, and that's why I was going with Harrell as the starter. His shooting really pulls him down as a player, even though his defensive ability is not too bad. But Daniels, solid. Why didn't have as great a game off the bench. But then Stewart and Rose led the scoring. 19 points from Stewart, 13 from Rose. So Stewart's getting a little bit better shooting-wise. If I look at the game logs from him, he's been in... Well, I say that. I thought he had another game or two in this episode where he had double digits in points, but not so. Rose is probably going to be the leading scorer on the team pretty easily. Off the bench, Matthews, good game from him. He's just a sophomore as well, but I don't see him fitting in anywhere except as a bench player. He can play center. I think he can play power forward, which is where I have him pretty much right now. So another good game, a good performance. Now looking at the standings, how it's going to go for this last game. North Texas, if they win, there's a potential like 5-way tie here. I don't really like that. I would love to be able to win that game and give us maybe some matchup advantages when it comes to the conference tournament. I don't want to be down here because I don't think you're going to get too much of an advantage if you're not seated higher. I mean, I guess it's possible we could finish tied for the top record-wise. They're playing on the road against Western Kentucky. That could be a tough one. And then Texas San Antonio, they're playing, or was that who I was looking at? They're playing on the road against Middle Tennessee. So how is Middle Tennessee now? They're one of those teams that could finish. I mean, it could be a bunched up. I expected the team to pull away from it, and that's not what's happened. So let's get to it. I think Horton should be. Well, I got to get back to UAB. I think Horton should be healthy right now, or if not, he will be. 3 days. He's not going to be fully healthy, I don't think. I'm just going to sim it day to day just to see. It would be nice to see him healthy in that last game. And I think this is going to be on the road. North Texas, as I mentioned in previous episodes, they are one of the better programs in this conference right now. Looking at the history from before I took over the previous 6 seasons. And I haven't heard much on recruiting. I've got 3 offers out there, 2 verbals, not 1 letter of intent, 2 verbals, I believe. I may check that if it's no. Yeah, Martin's still a verbal. I hope he doesn't, decide not to come here. McCleary, I talked about this last time. He's going to be almost top 10 regionally at his position. Martin, top 20 if he holds these rankings. Stewart, yeah, not that great, but he's improved. He's got great numbers from high school. So I will take this recruiting class for first year. Hopefully we'll finish strong here and get a boost to reputation. So I just want to check it one more time. I think he's still going to be at 90%. He is. All right, so this is what it comes down to. Some really good matchups across the conference. I mean, you got Marshall, Old Dominion, San Antonio, Middle Tennessee. I think this could be a sleeper right here. UTEP and Western Kentucky. They could, they win this, they're over 500 for the season. So it would be I'm sure a big win for them. We can't pull it out. So we still finish way better than I thought we would. And I know down the stretch, so we start out 5-1 in conference. We finished 6-6. Could have been better, but I can't be unhappy with this turnaround. So let's see what kind of scores we got. So San Antonio handled Middle Tennessee. Nope, UTEP beat Western Kentucky. So look at the standings now. It's going to be, we're 4th, tied for 4th in the conference. I mean, that's really nice. San Antonio and El Paso here tied for the lead. 321 winners in this conference. Let's see what the inbox says. Hopefully these are some letters of intent. Nobody's declaring for the draft. Man, they're going to make me sweat on these two, I think. Because I have really just dropped off of recruiting right now. I mean, if it came back to it, I would be really in trouble. But I want to look at a couple things, and then we'll see what kind of schedules I think we're going to have for the tournament, kind of seeding. So Villanova's still undefeated, ranked first. Kansas, another strong team in this playthrough. Um, and when I say playthrough, I mean all 6 seasons. They're second. Arkansas, another strong team. Boston College having a good year. St. Mary's, pretty good. I've played them previously and beat them at Austin P. Purdue, Davidson, a team that's in the rankings a lot. Bubble Watch. So who would make it from our conference? Texas San Antonio, and then on the bubble you got Texas El Paso, which I could see, and Old Dominion. So that's 3 teams to make it from this conference. Potential. Well, those 3 teams are not going to make it from this conference, but to show up here, I mean that's not too bad. You got Belmont. I keep going back to my old conferences. Like if I look at the Big Ten, I can't do it from here. I'm in the wrong place. I want to look at the standings. Big Ten, Penn State way down there, 5-15, 7-22. We never had that bad of a season, so I don't really know. I just I don't know what it would take to turn this team around. I mean, you see under us, we got as competitive as we could, but now they're back here to this level. And then I want to look at the OVC, and then we'll move back to ours. Austin P, about in the middle. But a couple good teams here. Eastern Illinois, Belmont. Belmont's always strong in this conference right now. So I want to look at the health first off of the team. And this is not us. I do this every time. So Conference USA, UAB. So we're back healthy. I mean, Harrell, I don't know if I mentioned that, but he's gone for the season. His injury was like a broken foot, 7 months. So he was gone for the whole year. Brooks is still the only guy who's got a poor relationship with us. So now, how do we get to the tournaments? And we're going to look at the Conference USA and see how. I keep doing this wrong. We're gonna see what the seedings are like. So we get a bye. So we're going to be playing the winner of North Texas and Florida International. So that doesn't give me too much confidence, because you can see we're also up there with Texas and San Antonio. So our odds of being able to pull off a miracle and get to 500 or better, probably not going to happen. And I would be surprised really if we're able to get past that first game in the tournament. I think that's going to be a tough challenge. It's North Texas, or I think it was Florida Atlantic. They don't scare me as much as North Texas. Florida International, sorry. And then Texas San Antonio. I mean, the best we could do with their record is, we win the tournament and we're still going to just be 16-16. I mean, hopefully we've made some things here. I mean, we didn't finish last in conference, so that's got to be worth something. But we didn't that is the only goal we're gonna meet here of these job goals. But I wanted to look one more time at the teams that we did beat. So we only played North Texas once, I think. Yeah, no, twice. We beat them at home, lost on the road, and lost badly. I didn't even look at the box score. I forgot about that. That was a blowout. That was our worst loss of the season. So that's not good going into the tournament like that. They shot over 50%, had a great game, 40 rebounds to our 30. We were terrible from the floor, 13 for 53. Everybody was shut down in this game. High score was Brooks off the bench. Matthews looked pretty good, relatively off the bench, but wow. I wish I hadn't looked at this now. We were just obliterated by this team. Whew. So yeah, that's worrying me. So Florida Atlantic. I'm doing it again. Florida International. If Florida International could somehow get a win, I mean, we beat them on the road in the only game we played against them. Texas San Antonio, they handled us pretty easily. So I don't know what would be the best outcome, truly, but I'm hoping that we don't have to play North Texas again after that last game. But anyway, yeah, we finished fourth in the conference. That's how we're seeded. So not a bad year. Now let's just get ready for that tournament. Hope we make a good showing. Might somehow get lucky, finish with 15 wins. That'd be awesome. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching, the tips, the comments. I hope you're still enjoying the series. I plan on giving this one a few more years. I'm liking the makeup of this team, and I'm liking the fact that I've got a few seasons behind me now. I feel a little bit more confident about things like recruiting, if not, how to get the 4 and 5 star guys, at least how to get the best of the bunch that I can get. And so I'm hoping that I can get a run going with this one finally. But as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next episode.